be this kind of game. We talked about it all week. We actually showed clips from the last time we came up here in terms of the number of snaps played and the shrinking of the game, which I think is really smart by Mark, and keeping the game tight and lowering the number of possessions. With the weather conditions, you're going to play these kind of games like this, and really proud of when our guys' backs are against the wall, how they come out fighting and what they do. Certainly could have played better probably in the red area. Could have stopped some drives defensively. We gave them a couple conversions on penalties and things, but I give Kentucky a lot of credit for bounce back, being a really physical football team, and we won the line of scrimmage tonight, which we had to do. So we now open it up.
Coach, what's the message when they are limiting possessions like that to your offense? Not to press, maybe just do what we do. I mean,
we knew it was going to be that. We had 3 possessions in the first half. I don't think they had but 3. And we talked about limiting the number of plays we would carry, get really good at what we do, be efficient. The efficiency was there, other than the red area, and it was tough in the red area. They do a good job. They jam pack you down there. They don't pressure a lot. They have lots of levels in their defense, and our probably inability to run it in the red area hurt us more than anything. But it gave Pod a chance to be clutch, and he was. Those are not easy kicks when you got 16, 17 mile an hour winds going around.
Yeah, that was red area was a problem all night. Why would, when you take the points there on the last possession, you got 4th and goal?
Because I feel like to win a game, you need to be able to run it in for 4th and 1. And if you don't get it, they got to go 99 yards. Those are decisions I get to make.
What'd you say to Kenny to get his first career 100-yard rushing?
Awesome. Kenny ran the ball really well tonight. Physical, tucked the ball up. I thought the offensive line was really physical. Did a good job in the run game to be able to get the ball out of there a couple times, and for him to hit 140, whatever he hit, 143, it's awesome for him. Probably could have had more. He shared the load with some other guys, and Kendall did a good job when he came in. I thought all those guys ran the ball well.
I know there's more ball to be played, but how does it feel to be 8-0 in the SEC back-to-back years with this team?
Hard to do. Last 40 years, there's only been 2, and it's hard to win on the road in the SEC. You look across the country today. You see the environments people were playing in. You see it's different. You find out real quick who really wants to play football and who's just a football fan. And you have to be able to win in games like that, especially in November.
Kirby, 2 Kentucky drives there late where they really needed points. You guys don't give up any on those 2 drives. Just what did you see from the defense in those ones?
Well, it was bend but don't break. We didn't stop them. They ended up getting down to the red area. The wins on 4th down were the difference in the game. And our ability to stop them on 4th down was big, but our inability on some of the 3rd downs to get off the field hurt us some. Our offense was, I think, 6 of 12 on 3rd down, so they continue to be one of the most efficient 3rd down teams in the country.
What kind of effect did the wind have into the night? How windy was it?
16 to 18 with gusts to 25. So it was windy, but it's more about what you can and can't do in those conditions. And again, I think it affected Kentucky, affected us. Wind's blowing one way, you got to think about when you're passing it, when you're throwing it. We do studies all the time about how it affects games when the wind gets up around 20 miles an hour. It's very different in the way you play the game. You got to be methodical, you got to be smart. You're not going to get many possessions.
Along those lines, it wasn't a real pretty game for Stetson. Is it conditions plus defense that's pretty good?
Again, where he's good is loose plays, getting out in space, being able to do things. There wasn't a lot of that tonight. There wasn't a lot of opportunity for that. Their defense is also pretty good. He's played against their defense a couple times. I know 2 years ago up here. They do a really good job because we get to watch them week in and week out. So they do a great job.
We didn't see Tate and also Denine not being here. Just what were both of those guys?
Denine has got a little bit of a hamstring knee bothering him, so he went some during the week, but didn't think he was able to go, so we brought Muse down, and Tate had a sublux last week, and he practiced most of the week. He tried to go, but didn't feel like he'd be able to go in the game, so Devin went in there.
Obviously, that you're facing crowded boxes in those situations. Are you concerned about the inability to get those 1 yards in those situations that you run up into, especially tonight?
Yeah. To get 1 yard, we should be able to get 1 yard. You got to be able to get those. You know what I mean? We got 8, 9 yards a lot of times. We rush for 300 or how much, 250. So getting 1 shouldn't be the end of the world, right? But we didn't in those situations. We gotta do better at situational football, and we did.
Kirby, Will Levis hadn't really had much in the passing game in terms of big total yards the last few weeks. You guys did a good job until, I guess, second half, he got going. What were some of the issues?
We call them issues. He hit a couple shots. You gotta play them different. You gotta play, if they're gonna be methodical and run the ball, then that's what you're playing for. They got a good back, they're physical, no issues, just one-on-one, and they made some plays. They had a PI, they had a nice double move on Chris, where I think we hit him late. But people are gonna make plays in this league, so we gave up 6 points.
Sort of to that point, how big was Keeley's interception, especially with Kentucky driving on that possession?
I can't remember if that was the possession after the hands to the face, but we should have been off the field, I thought. And it was like, okay, well, we just extended this drive, we just shrunk this game, one more possession for us. But that stole one back because it was a turnover. We ended up, I think, 1-1 maybe in the turnover game, which is crucial with Kentucky because the turnovers are magnified when the game is shrunk.
What happened on the 2 goal line plays where you brought in Jalen Carter? You tried to punch it in twice, didn't quite get it. Didn't see a replay. What did you see from your advantage?
We didn't get much movement. The first time we got blew up at guard when it was down on the end that we come out, and then the quarter changeover, we came back and didn't get much movement. It's a play that it's a statement play, it's an identity play. You got to be more physical than them, and they were more physical than us. Kentucky does a good job. They know how to stop the run. They got good players too.
How do you get your players prepared for a physical game like this 11 weeks into the season? You're already back into your schedule.
You get them ready for this in the offseason. It's physical, it's lifting weights, it's moving people, it's the way we practice. Our kids know. Every older player we got tells kids all the time, man, it's like, when you play Kentucky, you better strap it on. And we talked about that. We talked about it. You weren't going to play the same Kentucky that Vanderbilt played. You're going to play a different Kentucky, and they did a good job, and the conditions limited themselves to a limited number of possessions.
You talked about how this defense did against Rodriguez.
Yeah, he went 17 from 52. He is one of the most physical backs I have seen in all my years in the SEC, with Benny Snell being right there with him. He really does. He seeks contact, and it's hard to get them behind the sticks. So if you don't get a team behind the sticks that's willing to go for it on 4th down, you play a lot of snaps. And I thought we did a good job containing him. I thought we could have wrapped up better and knocked him back a few more times.
We expecting Levis to pass more or pass and run like he did today?
I wasn't really expecting anything. I was going to react to whatever they did. I don't think it's my job to decide whether they run or pass it. It's our job to stop whatever they do. That's what we try to do.
There was a lot of time before you decided to go for it on 4th and go there. The quarter ended. Was there a lot of discussion back and forth between the box and stuff about what you wanted to do there? Did we take the 3 or did we go for it here? Or was it a quick decision?
That's my decision.
Well, I know whose it is. I was just wondering, arriving at it, was it just right away? Let's go for it here.
That's really relative to us. Like, we talk about things on the headphones every play. That just gave us more time to talk about it. But I don't have to share with you what was said, do I?
No, you don't have to. I'd love for you to.
What happens on the headphones stays on the headphones. I'm sorry you're not privy to those. Y'all start paying a lot of money, y'all might get some access on those headphones. That was a decision that was made by me, and I wanted to show confidence in our players. And if I had a chance to go out there and do it again today, I'm gonna go over there and say we're gonna do it again, because that's what I believe in. That decision was made 15 years ago on philosophy.
Kirby, I know you probably haven't studied Georgia Tech at all, but an interim coach, have you seen some highlights of what do you know about the team that's coming out next week?
I don't know a lot about them. Obviously, we broke them down in the offseason. A lot of respect for Brent. Know Brent well, playing for a long time, and respect the rivalry, and look forward to going to get ready and prepare for them. I'm looking forward to honoring our seniors in this senior class, who has a chance to be the winningest class to ever play at Georgia, and they had a COVID year, where they had a limited number of games.
When looking back on the SEC schedule, you all faced a goodly number of really good quarterbacks, and I think you were able to handle it. You won. So, what does that say about this defense and how they can respond to real players of quality?
Look, I was proud, but we got lucky tonight too. They had some drops, they had some missed throws that, like, looking back, we're like, did we stop them or did they stop themselves, right? And we got to continue to get better. I don't want to say lethargic win, but it was very ho-hum. I feel like, everybody across the league, including us, is at a point. We just had 4 games in a row, 3 on the road, that were really tough and really physical. And we knew this gauntlet was coming. And our guys put their head down and worked really hard. Regardless of who we faced, we've stood up to the test that we've been asked to, and I'm proud of what they've done, but we're not where we need to be, put it that way. We've got to improve on both sides of the ball.
What's it say that this team was able to go through that gauntlet and win each of those games by double digits?
Hellified leadership. I mean, the leaders on this team to stand up, and I asked them before we left to come here in the team meeting, what makes you different than last year's team? And they said, our response to adversity. And I put 15, 16, 17 seniors at the front of the room and said, each one of you, tell me what this game means to you. And because you could say, what are they playing for? Well, playing for a chance to be the winningest team, one of the first teams to ever do the 2 undefeated, chance to dominate on the road, chance to win on a 4-game stretch that I don't know that I've seen a 4-game stretch quite like that one in our league. And they did it, like they owned it, and I'm proud of it.
Let's take 2 more questions.
Is that kind of the character of this year's team? They don't necessarily dominate like last year, but they respond when they need to.
I think they really believe in that. I think we've built some of those DNA muscles that maybe last year's team never got to flex, and this year's team is. I had several kids come over and bring me a composure card today when I was, upset after one of the calls, and they flashed a composure card, and I immediately said, you know what, they're right. Nothing we can do about it now. Go play the next play. And they really believe in those things, and they have responded to some adverse situations. They've been in some tough situations.
It's a big question, but how do you get your football team to be so player-led? Seems like 2 years in a row, you've been a player-led football team.
I don't know if last year's group probably rubbed off on this year's group. We're reaping the blessings of having watched those guys do it, and they want to emulate what those guys did. And there's some really good examples of wanting to do it right and wanting to be successful and following those other guys' footsteps, because so many of these guys are first-time or second-year players. Thank you.